Depressed, overworked, job suck, unappreciated, family problems, money worries. Well, we have a pill for you. Fucking 1,000 milligrams.
Come on in and sit down. You cut the hardcore crew chewing the fat. You cut us shooting the shit. You cut us in the moment.
Hello everyone, I am your hardcore host Brickhead, and I'm stoned out of my fucking mind. Now why am I stoned? Because we just got through watching a shit pay-per-view in WWE's Fastlane 2016, guys. Before we go on, let's introduce the hardcore crew. First, he's the son of a bitch, Andy, and he's also the HWR's fall guy. Andy, what's going on?
I wish I was stoned after sitting watching that for 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a real shit show. And then we had the classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Not much. Wait a minute. He's the fall guy? Hey, Mr. Lee Majors, how you doing?
And last and certainly not least, he's the incomparable Lance Moss, who's over at Lance Moss TV at YouTube.com at Lance Moss TV. Excuse me. See, that's what happens when you're stoned. You're going to fuck up a lot. Anyway, guys, there was more bad matches than there were good matches.
Yep.
Joe, you figured the match before, the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, you figured they would have spiced this show up just a little bit better.
Well, Rick, it started out good when the show went live, and after the Intercontinental title match, it started going down. This is what I say that wrestling is slowly dying. They didn't have any good, solid workers to continue the trend. All we got was the social outcast. It was, then the Peep Show. I mean, I'm one for nostalgia, but the Peep Show was horrible. Rick, it was the beginning of the end after that, after we saw the social outcast and the Peep Show.
Yeah, and, I know that Andy was having problems, and even our good friend Billy Boudreaux over at WGS-TV was having a lot of network problems, and even people over in the HWR chat room were really talking about how shitty the reception was tonight. Andy, I know you had some problems.
Yeah, it sucked, but it's typical every time there's a pay-per-view. I don't know whether they have just too many people watching the pay-per-view and their network can't cope. I don't know what it is, but it's every time there's a pay-per-view, the network goes crappy.
Well, let's get on to some of the better matches, the better aspects of the night. The Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler was pretty much okay for what it was. I mean, Dolph Ziggler did the usual thing where he gets his ass kicked throughout the show, makes a comeback, and then tries to get the win with a super kick, only to have Owens retain the title with a pop-up powerbomb. Joe, your thoughts about this match?
It was pretty good. It was exactly what wrestling's supposed to be. They didn't go into super spot monkey moves. They did what they had to. They slowed it down, speed it up. Really good match. And again, Ziggler's the WWE ragdoll. He gets thrown back and forth, but hey, that's his job.
Yeah. Now, Andy, I know you are no fan of Kevin Owens. In this match, it was a decent match with some good chemistry, but Kevin Owens got the obvious win.
All I can say is Dolph Ziggler went down quicker than that dolphin that everybody had selfies with that's been all over the news.
Oh, Jesus. That is wrong.
At least he had more fans than Dolph Ziggler.
This is true. That's more viral than Dolph Ziggler.
The only bad thing about that match is they left the dolphin lying on the beach to die. They should have left Dolph Ziggler lying in the middle of the ring.
Well, the only thing between Dolph Ziggler and the dolphin, they both have blowholes.
Again, I'm only guilty by association. Thank you, Joe. Moving on, Lance, what are your thoughts about the Owens-Ziggler match?
First, and you call me incomparable. But, yeah, probably best match, it's definitely up in the running for best match of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we had the Divas title match, and again, guys, it was just a shit match. Charlotte retains. I don't think there's really much to say about it. I think if you ask me, one of the best matches of the night was Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles.
Can we just go back to the Charlotte match? I just think she loves having somebody's head between her legs. Did you see that one story effect? Hey. I was beginning to get a bit hard.
And don't we all? Don't we all?
Now you leave Reed Flair alone.
Now, let's get back to the Jericho versus Styles match. Joe, these guys have some really great chemistry, a lot of great spots, but not back-to-back spots. Styles gets the win with the calf crusher. Jericho taps out. Your thoughts on the match?
Again, another good match. Two veterans that know how to pace themselves in the ring. That's what I like to see. They do the explosive parts, then they slow down. They take a breather, then they go back. That's a perfect example of what wrestling used to be. I wouldn't be surprised that AJ gets further up in scale and maybe take the U.S. title sooner than later. If you wanted to book something really good and they need strong tag teams, Jericho and AJ Styles as a tag would be a phenomenal team.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I kind of do want to address, Andy. AJ Styles, he's coming in the WWE. He seems to be making a huge impact, pun intended. Now teaming him up, Andy, do you think that's the right idea?
Not really. They just seem to mess. Everything they seem to touch at the moment turns to shit. I just don't know why they just can't leave people alone. I mean, let him just continue the way he's going on. Why does he need other people?
Yeah, and I think that they should only make teams for people who need a push, who don't have the momentum, that have no momentum, where AJ Styles has a shitload of it. It doesn't make sense for them to team up. Lance, over to you. Do you see AJ Styles getting a title match anytime soon?
Oh, most definitely. I could see him. Y'all are saying U.S. I could see him taking the belt off of Owens in a hell of a feud.
Yeah, and I want to thank Eric Malone. I can't pronounce your last name, Eric, so I'm just say Eric M. I apologize. And this is what he had to say. In my opinion, best match so far tonight, and I think we're all in agreement there.
Yeah.
Then, of course, they followed this up with a shitload of shitty matches. Curtis Axel versus R-Truth. The only thing that this whole match was for was just to push the Goldust R-Truth storyline in, and it really wasn't needed, Joe. They could have done something in the back.
Oh, absolutely. Goldust is a good performer, good entertainer behind the curtain instead of being in the ring. That whole match, the Social Outcast versus R-Truth with Goldust, it was a waste. The other waste of time, Rick, and we'll probably go into it, was the three losers versus the Wyatt family, and they actually gave Ryberg the win. I don't know why, and I'm going on record. Why do they keep pushing this guy? And I mean Ryberg.
Yeah. Again, well, let's move over to that title, that match. Again, that match, 6-man tag, nothing impressive. Andy, Bray Wyatt seems to be getting the shit end of the stick lately.
Well, as I said while we were watching the broadcast, somebody in the Wyatt family has upset somebody in the back. They've got to have done, because either the Wyatts are getting down the toilet quicker than a slippery turd, or they've got something better for us to look at. I just think Bray Wyatt's days are numbered. Whether he's got the best gimmick in the WWE at the moment or not, he's just days are numbered.
I wouldn't say his days are numbered, but he just doesn't really seem to be... Despite he's over those fans, despite when he comes out, those fireflies light up, which pretty much implies that the fans are behind him. I can't even speak tonight. I'm not stoned. Lance, your thoughts about the 6-man tag?
Wish I was as stoned as you are right now when I was watching that match. And, well, yeah, ain't nothing to write home about.
Yeah, exactly. We have a couple of comments. Our good friend Jessica Bedwell, who's over in the HWR chat room, said pretty much simply super lame. Pascal Barris, if I can't pronounce your name, I do apologize. He just said, just pure shit. And Andy, I know you wholeheartedly agree with tonight's pay-per-view overall.
If I had to give it a score out of 5, I'd give it 1, and that's pushing it a lot. But I must say, I know everybody on the crew has seen the Invisible Wrestler video. If If you haven't seen it, whoever's listening to this broadcast, just go on YouTube and type in The Invisible Wrestler, because I've just got a few words to say about Del Rio. Invisible contact.
You pretty much, and that was the kickoff match where Del Rio and Kalisto were fighting for the U.S. title. Kalisto gets the win. But Andy, yeah, as you pointed, there was just a lot of spots they completely missed. Joe, this is bad chemistry. Why do they continue to have these matches?
I have no freaking clue. I guess it's got to be politically correct and let immigrants in, since that's the topic in the world. These guys, Del Rio could do a lot better. Kalisto probably could be excellent around other cruiserweights. I'm sure if you put Kalisto in there with like an AJ Styles or anybody else, the match would be good. I don't know why they keep pushing this. I think they should take the belt off of Kalisto, give it to someone deserving, and slowly phase this out of here. Kalisto and Del Rio are just plain horrible. I am going to say this, on the Divas side match, the Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks versus Team Bad was the better Divas match.
Divas tag match was a hell of a lot better than this championship match was. Damn.
Yeah, well, let's get on to the main event, guys. It was a triple threat for the number one contender to face Triple H at WrestleMania 32. Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns. And Lesnar just dominated the entire match.
Until he went through two tables.
Well, okay, the first half of the match, he was throwing them around like rag dolls.
That he
and
was.
Joe, let me ask you, is this a good thing for Brock to make him look like unbeatable as opposed to... Right, he literally had to face two men to lose. Again, he didn't get pinned. Good thing or bad thing?
Good thing, because one thing is he didn't get pinned, he didn't tap out, he didn't submit, so, his still air of dominance was there. It took two men to beat him down. And it took Dean Ambrose with a chair hitting him stiff enough that he lets go for it to be believable. This match was pretty good. They had their high spots, they had their rebounds. We got to see the nostalgic Shield throwing Brock through two tables. Really well done. I would have preferred Brock winning, since he was my pick, moving on to WrestleMania. But they gave it to Roman Reigns and Rick. There was a lot of boos out there.
Yeah, you know what? The fans were clearly behind Dean Ambrose and even Brock Lesnar. But, Andy, when Reigns won the title, he pinned his good friend Dean Ambrose. The fans obviously not happy.
It's because Dean Ambrose is the local boy, I assume, but I don't know why the fans will not get behind Roman Reigns. He deserves everything he's getting, every push he's getting, he deserves it all, but the fans, marks, whatever you want to call them, are just not buying it at all, and I don't know why. But aside, if you go back and watch tonight's match, just before WrestleMania, those same fans that were booing Roman Reigns will be cheering him against Triple H.
Roman's one minute he has fans, next minute they're booing or they're cheering him.
It's like with John Cena. It's not seen the dumb thing for an adult to like John Cena. I'll go on record. I think John Cena's the best wrestler God ever put a pair of shorts on, to be perfectly honest, and don't care who ridicules me for it. And I'm not 20 years of age or 12 years of age. I'm a fully grown adult. Who cares if it's not politically correct that you're not supposed to like Roman Reigns? Get a grip on yourself.
Well, another thing Andy wanted to talk to about is you really weren't too happy with Brock Lesnar because he was only doing a certain amount of suplexes.
Well, Brock Lesnar's a one-trick pony. I mean, they moan about the five-move John Cena. Brock Lesnar's really a one-trick pony. It's Suplex City or nothing. I mean, let's be honest. What else has he got?
Well, let me interject. The reason he sticks to the Suplex City or the back suplexes is that's what basically makes him, and that's what everybody fears out of Brock Lesnar. And when you see him do the suplex, everybody starts screaming Suplex City. It's just like, get the tables. It's like in every other little cliche they have. That is Brock's forte, and for him to do that and then bring out the F5 whenever he needs it, it's a credit to his character. Because imagine, here's the thing, if you had a wrestler like Brock Lesnar, and he was all around, let's say he had every skill, which he probably does. Let's say he had the prowess of a Shawn Michaels, the speed of a Shawn Michaels, the ability to wrestle like a Bret Hart, plus the power of Hulk Hogan and all these people. If he was the complete wrestler, there would be no reason for him to lose every match. So you got to cut him, and you got to give him that basic 3, just like Kevin Nash had his 5 moves. You can't give the guy you can't let him do all these matches, all these moves, because then he's totally unbeatable. Who's going to beat him?
Yeah, very fair point. Now, we have a couple of comments again from our HWR chat room over at Facebook.com. In the group section, Erica says, without the help of the Wyatts, which most people actually predicted that the Wyatts were supposed to be apart in somehow, because they really were starting to feud with Brock Lesnar. Lance, why do you think they didn't bring him in?
They might have heat backstage, like you said, because you got to have heat if you let Big Show, Kane, and Rybots go over your ass.
And, Andy, that's a valid point. Again, we talked about earlier in the match how the Wyatts kind of lost. But even before this, throughout, as they were progressing to Fastlane, they pretty much was beating down Brock Lesnar. Why all of a sudden? Why the change?
I can only put it down to somebody's being upset somewhere. That's all I can put it down to. Somebody's really been pissed off in the back, and they're all paying for it.
On a scale from 1 to 10, I got to give it maybe a 3. That's being nice because of the 3 good spot matches. The worst segment of the night, the Peep Show segment. Andy, over to you.
I'll give it 2 out of 10, and that's being generous. And that's 2 points for Chris Jericho in the AJ Styles match, the only match that impressed me.
You know what, Andy, that was a very valid point. I think the Styles-Jericho match was the match of the night. The only other one that I can say it was exceptional was the Divas Tag Team match. Lance, over to you and your thoughts.
Yeah, I got to go 3 out of 10. And, well, best match, Styles and Jericho. But I do have one thing to say. WWE Network, get your shit together before WrestleMania weekend.
Which we know that's probably not going to happen because every WrestleMania, they really seem to be really bad. Joe, over to you.
I got to say, out of a 10, I got to say 3. The best match, and that's a toss-up, I have to say is the AJ Styles-Chris Jericho match. The Divas Tag match is right there second, and followed definitely by the Owens-Ziggler match. Everything else, Rick, after the first half, everything just went downhill.
Yeah, again, I think we're all in agreement there. And even the fans over in the chat room, again, that's facebook.com/groups, HWR chat room. We're all in agreement that tonight's show is just a shit show. We're going to wrap things up here, and we want to know more of your opinions. Post any comments in the comment section below. Make sure you like. And join us over at youtube.com/HWR show. Hit that subscribe button. And again, thank you for listening to Hardcore Wrestling Radio. I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, and as always, I'd love to thank the hardcore crew for being here. First, he is the son of a bitch. What's going on?
Yeah, you can find me at www.stokehaunted.com, and if you want to see something funny, go on to my Facebook page and just look at the Evil Knievel video.
And then we had the classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight. Joe, what do you got coming up?
Well, I'm going to be finally doing, now that I got some time off, I'm going to finally be doing my Super Castlevania video for Super Nintendo on my group's DK is Danger Nights, which is Retro's gaming site and topics. You can find that on Facebook. Hey, you know I'm going to have you sing that in. Like Danger Nights. You can find us on Facebook, on Facebook.com groups, DK Retro. And Rick, we're going to finally have to sit down and get that game done, and as well as a couple other videos. So hope the fans could be tuning in and check this out.
And last and certainly not least, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, you're over at youtube.com/Lance Moss TV. Tell everybody about it.
I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck normal cooking videos, musical equipment reviews, some rants, and soon to be some cover songs. Every Wednesday night I go live with Lance Moss TV and friends. I never know who's going to show up. And hit me on Twitter, it's at Lance Moss TV.
And that's going to wrap it up here, guys. I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when WWE pay-per-views get fucking better.
Not only that, but the network.
Thank you for listening to this edition of In the Moment. Be sure you subscribe to us over at youtube.com/HWR show. And if you want to join in the conversation, head on over to the group section on facebook.com under the name HWR Chat Room. Until the next time, this is your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying, we'll see you when we see you.